Hello, my name is Gino Barbaro, one of the co-founders of Jake and Gino and the creator of the Baby Money Soldiers concept. Now, in this week's show, we're going to be discussing money rules for your baby money soldiers to be able to achieve financial freedom. Now, there are rules of money. One of the people that I started following early on, when I really didn't understand finance well, was Dave Ramsey. Dave Ramsey is a great place to start. You do need a budget. I just call it a spending plan now because I don't really see it as a budget, but you need to take control of your finances. You need to understand your relationship with money. I was a great saver. So for me to save money was pretty easy. But at the same time, I hated spending money. I couldn't enjoy money. So first thing, what I would tell you to do is read the book, The Psychology of Money by Morgan Housel. Phenomenal book. But in this show specifically, I'm going to give you some rules that I adhered to early on to be able to take control of my finances and to be able to become financially free and to create wealth with my baby money soldiers. Really, it is all about control. It is all about diverting your resources. Most of us aren't even aware. If we don't create a plan for our money of where to put it, our money decides to go wherever it wants to. And one of the reasons why I started a budget early on is I realized that if I didn't have control of my money, and listen, for me, it was easy 20, 30 years ago. It's a lot more challenging now because now with the internet, with all of these things that you can buy, all these monthly subscriptions, I didn't have that challenge. I lived in the cash world for a while, so I knew exactly what I was spending. But that's not an excuse because nowadays you can track exactly. You can pull stuff off your credit card statements, understanding, wow, why am I spending $20 a month on Adobe when I don't need it? I've got Hulu, Prime, Netflix, Disney. Well, I'm not saying whether you should or you shouldn't have them. Just understand that you're spending money there, and do you want to spend money there? So the first rule that I would say when you're working with your baby money soldiers and you're working with your money coming in, you need to save. I mean, I don't know what your constraints are. You may have tons of bills, but just to get into the mindset of being able to save, because if you can't save money, then there is no way you will be able to create wealth. When I first started out, 10% for me was manageable. Didn't have a big family. Had one or two kids at the time when I started doing this, so I could divert 10% from what I was earning and putting it towards what I called at that time my financial freedom account. That 10% was focused on buying assets. That's why it's called the financial freedom account. That money's gone. It's locked away. Next, the next 40 to 50%, I would say 50%. The next 50%, let's spend it on necessities. Food, clothing, shelter, all that. Those are your necessities. Spend 50 cents of every dollar there. So you're already spending 60 cents. The next 10%, and this is where Jake and I sort of disagree, but I think you need to at least put away 10% for luxuries to be able to enjoy yourself. Because if you're going through your journey early on, and it's very difficult because at some point you're killing those baby money soldiers by spending them on luxuries. But if you're not enjoying yourself, if you're not happy, if you're not motivated to do what you're doing, are you going to be able to produce at a higher level? 10%. So out of every dollar, 10 cents. Vacations, maybe a little bit nicer of a car, enjoying those luxuries, spending a little bit more during Christmas time, gifts, 10% for that. The next 10%, I would say, put it towards charity. And you may be saying to yourself, well, I don't have money for that. Well, then start somewhere with charity. Because I know if you start living a life of gratitude, and you start being grateful for what you have, and you start looking at the needs of this world, and out there people that need help, and you can be part of it, you can deliver impact to others through your charity. And maybe you don't have money right now, but do you have time? You can give up your time. For me, early on, I remember going down to the Franciscan Friars of the Renewal. I would go down every Thanksgiving. I didn't have a ton of money, but what I did is I would donate turkeys for Thanksgiving, and we would cook for 150 people in the neighborhood. That was one way for me to be charitable. I would go down and give the friars cooking lessons. I even ended up writing a cookbook for myself. It was a year-long project. It didn't take me a lot of money, but it took me an inordinate amount of time, blood, sweat, and tears. But there's charity right there. Think of things that you can do that are charitable. And when you're in that mode, you feel great, you feel energized, you feel really positive, and you feel inspired, and you will take those next steps. So think about putting X amount for charity. I put 10% there, and 10% for education. Now, this is another difficult one. Early on, I would say to myself, I can't afford education. I can't afford to go to boot camps. I can't afford for mentorship. Well, the problem was I wasn't learning skills. I wasn't skilling up. I wasn't learning how to create more value. And I was at a certain plateau and I wasn't growing anymore. Once I learned that I needed that mentorship for apartments, that I needed the mentorship to become a life coach, everything started changing for me. So make sure that you designate 10% of the money that you make towards your education. Financial freedom is for investing only in assets. Necessities, they include living expenses such as rent, mortgage, transportation. Remember, I'd mentioned luxuries. Education includes books, courses, seminars, and any material that leads you to personal growth. Go to jakeandgino.com. Take your journey there. We've got tons of books, tons of resources to be able to access to learn how to invest in real estate. But there are so many other platforms out there. Just choose a vehicle and start learning. And it's amazing what, that one with charity. A lot of us, we want to make those excuses that we can't afford to be more charitable. And now that I look back at it, I was stuck there too. I just had to figure out a certain way to be able to help and impact others. And that's one of the reasons why I did create Jake and Gino, because I'm able to create all these training products, all these books, and I'm able to give back a lot of this material in a different form. So when you're looking at these rules, they're not set in stone, because now, believe it or not, my financial freedom account, I'm saving about 70% of my income, because I'm still spending the same amount of money I did 2-3 years ago. My income has just shot up. It's just increased exponentially with all the cash flow. So for me, that savings has gone from 10 to 70, and you'll see that'll be the same case for you. And I challenge you, if you're making, let's say, $100,000 this year, and next year your salary goes to $125,000, try to live on the salary of $100,000 and put that extra $25,000 into your financial freedom account. Maybe take a couple thousand, get it towards charity, but try not to increase your living expenses up to where you are right now. And if you can do that, that is the way to true wealth and to truly building financial freedom. To learn more, go to jakeandgino.com. If you like the video and you like the baby money concept, like and subscribe to the Jake and Gino YouTube channel. And what I'd like to say is, if there's any comments down below, I would love to hear. If you're watching this on YouTube, leave me a comment down below and say, hey, Gino, I think 10% is too much. I can't save 10%. Well, what can you save? Can you save 1%? Even 1%, starting somewhere and letting it grow. And once you put energy towards that and focus towards something, it starts growing. So leave me any comments. Tell me I'm crazy. Tell me you're right on. Tell me what you're doing to be able to create financial freedom and to create wealth in your life. Thanks again, and we'll see you on the next Baby Money Soldiers. Thanks for tuning in. If you enjoyed today's video, be sure to like and subscribe so you'll never miss another episode.